My name is Nicole Chen, and for most of my adult life, I've been invisible to my family. Not because I disappeared or cut ties, but because I refused to follow the path they'd already mapped out. In their eyes, that made me irrelevant. I grew up in Westchester County, New York, in an upper-middle-class suburb with excellent schools and the unspoken expectation of Ivy League degrees. My parents, both immigrants who built successful finance careers, had a very narrow definition of success. My older sister, Jennifer, fit it perfectly: Dartmouth undergrad, Columbia MBA, a consulting job at McKinsey, married a hedge fund manager, 2 kids, a house in Greenwich, the whole checklist. I was supposed to do the same. Instead, I enrolled at NYU for computer science. My parents were disappointed but not hostile. Tech was at least respectable. Then I dropped out in my junior year to join a startup. That's when I became the black sheep. "You're throwing your life away," Mom said. "Jennifer would never do something so reckless." "Jennifer isn't me," I replied. Dad's glare said it all. The startup DataFlow developed enterprise data analytics software. I joined as employee number 7, a junior developer making $45,000 a year, living in a cramped Queens apartment with 3 roommates, surviving on ramen and working 80-hour weeks. My family thought I was nuts. Jennifer called occasionally, dripping with condescension. "Still doing the tech thing? When are you going to get a real job? A stable career?" Eventually I stopped answering. Everyone knows startups fail. My family reminded me of it constantly, waiting for the inevitable collapse. What they didn't know, we were thriving. By year 2 I was a senior developer. Year 3 I led the product team. Year 4 I negotiated equity. At 27, DataFlow sold for $340 million. My stake was $8.2 million after taxes. I didn't tell anyone. I kept my modest life in Queens, dressing casually, living quietly, but invested aggressively in real estate, stocks, and startups. The acquiring company offered me VP of Product Innovation, $285,000 base, bonus, equity. At 28, I was a tech executive with a 7-figure net worth. My family still assumed I was struggling at a startup because I never corrected them. I wanted to see if they'd ever care about me, not my achievements. They didn't. Family dinners became unbearable. Jennifer dominated with stories of consulting projects, private schools, and hedge fund bonuses. When asked about me, it was perfunctory. "Still at that startup? That's nice. Jennifer, tell us more about the Hamptons house." I stopped going, claiming work or travel. Eventually, my absence was expected, until the Thanksgiving call. "Nicole, it's Mom," she said. "Jennifer's bringing someone special this year, David. Very accomplished. We think maybe you should sit this one out." I froze. "You want me to skip Thanksgiving? It's just you're still at that tech thing. Jennifer wants everything perfect." I could have argued, listed my title, salary, net worth. Instead I said, "Understood." I sat in my Park Slope apartment and made a decision. If my family wanted me invisible, I'd stay invisible, until it mattered. First I called my assistant. "Pull the file on all new hires named David." 20 minutes later. "David Morrison, 31, former Amazon, reports to me." Next I checked with my executive assistant. "Any mention of Thanksgiving plans?" Marcus called back. David was meeting his girlfriend's family in Westchester. He was nervous about impressing Jennifer's successful family, the very family that had deemed me unworthy. I didn't intervene. I let the stage set itself. I wouldn't attend. I'd been uninvited. But I'd be ready to watch the consequences unfold. And I knew exactly how it would end. She paused. "Okay. I did. But I thought you were still struggling. I thought I was protecting David from an awkward conversation about startup failures." "No, you were protecting yourself from being tied to my so-called failure." She didn't deny it. Silence hung between us for a moment, heavy and uneasy. Finally Jennifer spoke. "When did you get so successful?" "I've been building this for years, Jen. You just never noticed. You never asked. Every family dinner, every phone call. It was always about you, your job, your husband, your kids, your accomplishments. When did you ever genuinely care about my life?" I asked sometimes. "Still at that startup isn't asking with interest, it's judgment," I said. She flinched. "Do you know what it feels like to be invisible to your own family? To hear your parents introduce you as our other daughter, while spending an hour boasting about your sister? To be uninvited from Thanksgiving because you don't fit the image. I'm sorry. Are you? Or are you just embarrassed that your boyfriend realized your struggling sister is actually more successful than you? David apparently couldn't stop talking about me at dinner. Mom said he was impressed with the product roadmap I created, the team I built. Felt lucky to work for me. Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. He did. He went on and on. About your innovation, your leadership, the respect everyone has for you. Awkward. Mortifying. Mom and Dad just sat there, realizing they'd spent years labeling you as the disappointing daughter. And now they had no clue who I really was. I walked to the window looking out at the park. I'm not trying to hurt anyone, Jen, but I won't shrink myself to make you feel bigger. I never asked you to. You did. Every time you said, just at a startup. Every time you changed the subject. Every time you implied my path wasn't valid. She cried fully now. I'm sorry, Nicole. I was so focused on competing, being the successful one, that I never saw what you were accomplishing. I know. I turned back. What did David do when he found out? He was stunned. Asked where you were. When he learned you'd been uninvited, he was horrified. Asked why. Dad said it was about fitting the professional atmosphere. Then David asked what I did. Consulting. Then about you. Dad finally admitted you worked in tech. He pulled up his org chart. And there you were, VP of Product Innovation. He stared for a minute, then looked at Mom, Dad, me. Wait. Nicole Chen is your daughter? Your sister. I almost smiled. And I just nodded. He asked why you weren't there. When he learned the truth, he walked out, called an Uber. Texted me later, saying he needed to think about dating someone whose family excludes relatives based on perceived success. The weight of that hit me. Jen, I'm not angry at you. You didn't do this. We did. She wiped her tears. Where do we go from here? I don't know. But if you want to know the real me, you'll have to ask, listen, and value me for who I am. Not just what I've achieved. I can do that. You're right, success cuts both ways. I can't resent you for it. Just like I can't dismiss you for failure that never existed. Mom and Dad were devastated. They wanted to fix it. Sunday evening they came to my apartment. I wasn't ready to forgive completely, but I was willing to talk. Mom hugged me, crying, I'm so sorry, baby. Dad looked older, tired. We sat in my living room, the first time they'd seen it. This is beautiful, Mom said softly. Thank you. How long have you lived here? 2 years. We didn't know. You never asked. Dad spoke, voice heavy. We failed you. We were so focused on the idea of success, we couldn't see yours. You saw what you wanted. A daughter failing to follow the script. Mom's voice broke. When was the last time we asked about your life with real interest? Dad nodded. We know we were wrong. We hurt you. But you've always mattered. Have I? It didn't feel like it when you uninvited me. We were fools, Dad said simply. Mom reached for my hand. Can you forgive us? I let it hang. Finally. Maybe. Forgiveness needs real change. Not just apologies after realizing I'm successful. Real change. Yes. Would you have apologized if I were still the struggling startup girl? Or would you have thought you were right to exclude me? The question landed hard. That's the work you need to do, I said. Figure out why you valued Jennifer over me. Why achievement mattered more than character. Image over family. Dad nodded. You're right. We talked for another hour. They asked real questions about my work, my life, my home. For the first time in years, I felt truly seen. It wasn't fixed, not yet, but it was a start.